Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Walk Off with One. Today, the education that I'm going to be sharing with you is how to pick up things and how to lift. So there's a few progressions that we're going to be going through in this video. There's going to be 3 specific Walk Off with Ones. We're going to be talking about those Walk Off with Ones, and at the end, we're going to put everything together, and I'm going to show you exactly how you're supposed to do this. So lifting made easier, not the He-Man method. Or as I like to say it, lifting made more efficient. Because when you're more efficient, you live healthier, you have a higher quality, you do things better, it's safer. You're able to have a better longevity of your job. You're able to do things better and keep yourself and others safe. So consider this, we have 2 risks here. So risking injury just to get the job done fast is not worth it. Also, or another risk would be holding a box at arm length raises the burden on the lower spine by 15 times the original weight. So if we were picking up something that only weighed 5 pounds, it would really feel like 75 pounds if we were holding something in front of us at an arm's length. So how do we fix this? So preparation. Ask for help if the object weight is beyond your strength capacity. So if you're not strong enough to lift something, don't try to be a He-Man. Just ask someone next to you. They will help you. So say you can lift something, but you don't know if you're using the right technique or you don't think you're using the right technique. Ask someone to watch you. Say, hey, is this right? Or get someone to coach you up on lifting with the proper technique. Another ways we can fix this is through posture. So a good base of support and have the object close to your body. So there's a video already made on this. It's labeled cog over BOS, which means center of gravity over your base of support. I would recommend you go back and watch that. It's a great video to show you how to lift using your center of gravity over your base of support. So second posture we can do is have our butt back and our back straight. Another word for this is hip hinging. Hip hinging takes the weight off the spine and puts it on your hips. Another posture we can do is we can have our shoulders held back and keeping your head up. So what's the reward for all of this? Learning to use proper body mechanics, applying ergonomics, and living a healthier and higher quality life. That's the reward. So if we can use that preparation, if we can use that good posture, that good base of support, then guess what? We're going to live a healthier, higher quality life and be more efficient with the job tasks that we do. So the pickup, when we go to pick up something, we need to take a deep inhale prior to the pickup and begin to slowly exhale, so breathe out when we lift. So you begin lifting slowly, maintaining a tight core and correct posture. So if you follow that preparation, you follow that posture, and you follow the deep inhale when you pick up, you will have that reward when lifting. Next up, we got hip hinging 2.0. So hip hinging is an essential movement to decrease the risk of a low back injury. So we can follow this progression pattern to increase our hip hinging technique. So the first one is a single leg stance where you hold and you focus on activating your core. So that right knee that you can see in that picture, he's driving his knee up to increase his core activation to increase his stability. The second one, we're going to practice to keep our back flat by using a dowel while performing a hip hinge. The third one, we're going to add some resistance to focus on the activation of our hips, legs, and glutes. The fourth one we're going to really test our stability and hip hinging technique with this single leg hip hinge. After we get through the last walk off one, we're going to go through all of these in more detail. Last but certainly not least, we got the lift kit. So sparing the spine for long-term back health. So this is deadlifting. And for this one, I want you to refer to the Wellness Wednesday video on how to deadlift. So once we create a new posture, which we talked about in the first walk-off one, we're going to want to strengthen that posture, and deadlifting is one of the great ways that we can do this. So all we're going to talk about now is our hip hinge and how to improve our hip hinge. But before we talk about improving our hip hinge, we need to talk about what a hip hinge is. So a hip hinge is bending at your hips or your waist and not with your back. So this right here would not be a hip hinge. Again, this right here would not be a hip hinge. First off, we're not keeping our back straight. We're not keeping our head up. So again, a hip hinge is bending at your waist, not at your back. So a hip hinge would be like this, like you're sitting in a chair. Like you're sitting back in a chair. Sitting back into a chair. So if there's a chair behind me, a hip hinge would be me sitting back in that chair. So now that we know what a hip hinge is, let's talk about how to improve our hip hinge, how to make our hip hinge better. So the first thing that we're going to do is core activation in a single leg stance. So what that means is we're going to be driving our leg up. So we're going to be driving this knee up towards the sky, and we're going to try to activate this hip flexor area or our core area on this left side. So say I can't go single leg balance. Well, for the next step, we're going to need this dowel anyways. So you can use it as a balancer. So again, I'm driving, I'm holding as high as I can, trying to get my knee to come up as high as I can. Next step, we're going to use a dowel. You're going to put it on your back. You're going to put it on the top of your butt to the back of your head. To make sure that you're hip hinging correctly, the pole should always touch your back and your head the whole entire time. If it comes off, we're not hip hinging. So again, boom, everything stays together. Everything stays together. If I don't bend at my waist and I bend at my low back or bend somewhere else, you can see that it comes off. Again, if we don't look up, if we look down, the dowel leaves the back of our head. So the next one, we're going to add some resistance to get some activation of our glutes and our hips and our hamstring. So you can either use a band or a weight, but I think the weight will be easier for me to use for the demonstration, but a band will work just as well for you at home. So again, we're hip hinging. We're working on our glute strength. So you're going to put the weight down between your legs, and you're going to come up. So I'm hip hinging. I'm hip hinging. Again, it's the same thing here. So drop the weight down, I hip hinge, and I bring the weight back. Last, but certainly not least, we have to test our stability of our hips. So we got to have mobility, we got to have strength, but we also have stability that we need to make sure that we have. So what you're going to do is whatever weight you're using, whatever resistance band you're doing, you're going to put it down next to you. So I have my dumbbell here on my left-hand side. So what you're going to do next is you're going to do a single leg stance, you're going to hip hinge, and you're going to bend and touch that weight or that resistance band. So again, I'm going to go single leg stance, I'm going to hip hinge, like I said, not bend forward. You're going to hip hinge, you're going to bend down, you're going to touch that weight, and come back up. Again, we're trying to keep our hips level. So if I'm like this, I obviously don't have stability. Again, I'm going to turn around this way so you can see it from the other way. Except this way, I'm going to be testing my right side. So again, you're going to come up, you're going to hip hinge, you're not going to bend forward, you're going to hip hinge, you're going to bend down, touch that weight, and come back up. Again, if I was like this, or if I was like this, I wouldn't have stability of my hips. Alright y'all, I know that's a lengthy video to go through, but it's very, very crucial for your efficiency. Like I said at the beginning, we want to be efficient so we can have longevity of our lives, so we can make our work life better, that we can make our out of work life better, that we can keep ourselves safe and the people around us safe. So hip hinging is crucial. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to any of your Biokinetics employees. They would love to help you. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to tune in the next one because more information, more education will be coming your way shortly.